Hey guys, in this video we are going over US, what is US? User ID controlled by request parameter. So in here it says that the lab has a horizontal privilege or privilege escalation on the user account page. To solve this lab, you need to obtain the API key from the user and submit a solution. And you need to use login credentials, which they give you. All right. So we get here and then we need to see what we have on that when we log in. Their credentials, which is winner, user. And you see get a API key here in our username. Now let's see anything that looks weird here is first thing that sticks out to me before we even which anywhere else is here in the URL here in the ID parameter here it says ID and it says username. Now this is common, which leads to IO stuff like a random string or coded value or username, which in this case is a username. What we can do is we can come in here into a proxy and then change that. Either we can send it to, we can like fuzz it if we want to, but just do basic tests and see if there's any type of sensitive information being leaked here. We can just set our normal and see what comes back. Obviously, it was API key. So if we simply change this to Carlos, it should give us something in return. Yeah. So it says 200, okay, which is yep, is it API key. So we just copy this, submit our solution, and the lab is solved. So that's it for this lab. It was pretty simple. And if you look at the solution, and it says when you log in with your credentials, you notice the URL contains a user ID. You send it to computer tab and change it to a username you might know or random name and see what comes back, or you can uh which is a lot more to your automate tab or your intruder tab if you're in Burp Suite. I'm on Kaido, but you send it to your intruder tab, it should allow you to you can just have a list, either customized names or a username list you're most common using, and you just slowly just send requests to the server, to the website, and see what comes back about. That's the other way to do it, but that takes a lot more time than doing the way of knowing a common name. But yeah, that will be it for this lab. And since this one's so short, we can do the next one. If we can get to it. Which is weird. So Central. Okay. So in this one, it is user ID controlled by a request parameter with unpredictable user IDs. So in this one, it's the same situation, except it's with UIDs that are unpredictable. So to find the GUID or Carlos, first need to figure out which is find the GUID, which is typically a random string that could be either combination of letters or numbers, or it could be username is just encoded and turned into a set of integers on a inside parameter. So when we log in, let's see what our GUID is. So here's the API key. So if you come into our repeater, we see that our GUID is here. Let's see. This could, it's a random value. So if we just change this to E back as found, which is interesting. Okay. Um, Nothing. Okay. Um, hmm. Hmm. So, let's see. Oh, see, Carlos made a post here. Well, found his UID. So if we copy this ID, we should be able to get his API key if we just swap it with ours. And okay, yep, we did. And then, yep, here's our API key. No, that was off. So I didn't do much explaining in that. So what happened was when we logged in to our account, we noticed like when we first attempted, we tried to, let's see, with R, no, with ours we said, okay, this was our UID, and we're like, okay, I was like thinking, okay, let's see if we can change one value. And we changed one value from like a single, this value here to like E, B, H, or any letter out the alphabet. And what it did was it gave 300, it just redirected. So I knew something that was probably a rabbit hole that would not have worked, so that didn't make sense. So then, okay, let me look further, see where else might have been something. Then we noticed that there was blog posts here. I noticed there was blog posts. So let me see. Because normally when you have a blog post, somebody's name is usually there. See, like you're here, it was somebody's name and the date this blog was made. And usually they'll have their username like hyperlinked in here. So when you click on their name, it'll go to their profile, show all the posts or anything they made. So then, so you just briefly hover over, you can see that the GUID of the admin here is there as well. And then since there's no protection in place for this, I'm kind of curious if we can see the idea of, kind of curious actually, if we can do this. I'm kind of curious. Let's see if this works. I don't know if this is gonna work, but I don't see why it wouldn't. Yeah, see it work. So there's no protection in place. It just allows, I think on the website it only allows like, hey, this is a valid UID. It's gonna allow anybody with access, as long as that UID is valid on the website. Is like, hey, this is in our system. This is recognized. This is password check. So let's allow this who's making the request to be see their information for that user account, which is a major issue when it's that easily discoverable. Because all you need is just hover somebody's username and our URL is change it to yours, which is very bad practices in general. But that'll be it for this one, and I think the next one we have is user ID is controlled by request parameter with data leakage and redirects, so that'll be a different approach. And then, depending on how long this one is, we might combine it and do the password disclosure too. It just depends on how long this one is. But I'll see you guys in the next one.